It's only right that I wear the hat today. Welcome to the Coach Cherry Show, episode 2. Go ahead and like and subscribe right here on this YouTube channel. Every Monday, the Coach Cherry Show, the best one out. No one talks sports like Coach Cherry. You see the hat? The Carolina Panthers, 30-27 over America's team. That's 2 in a row. We got to talk about the Panthers. We got to talk about the Hornets. And Penn State fires James Franklin? Why would they do that? And in the WNBA, the Las Vegas Aces, Dynasty.
I say keep it a vibe. I'm ready now. Talking right now. Go ahead and go get it.
Welcome again to the Coach Cherry Show. I'm your host, Coach Cherry, Jesus Christ follower, husband, father, former college athlete, and independent rap artist. You can also listen to the Coach Cherry Show on Apple Podcasts, Samsung Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeart, and Patreon. But check us out every Monday right here on YouTube. The Panthers. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I didn't know how that game was going to go. I didn't know. When they were preparing to face the Dallas Cowboys, because you got to understand, 3 starting offensive linemen are out. 3. And because at first, right, it was just Austin Corbett and Robert Hunt. And then when Taylor Moton went down, I said, oh, man. But ladies and gentlemen, the offensive line yesterday, did you see how I'm talking about dominating. When I was in high school, my high school coach was my father, the late, great Marshall Cherry, he taught me how important the offensive line was at an early age. And not only did he teach me, when I started playing football in Pop Warner, that was my first position. I hated it, but I was on the offensive line. So when I had my first big game in high school and I told the reporter, I want to thank my offensive line for opening the holes for me to run through. My high school coach looked and said, and yesterday, if you watch that Panthers game, I'm talking about moving something. Rico Dowdle is big on yards after contact. Don't get it twisted. Big on yards after contact. But when you look at the film and see the holes in the running lanes that he had, they dominated Dallas. Now I know what you're going to say. Because here was my thing going into the game when they said, who's going to win, Coach Cherry? Who's going to win this game? I didn't know who to pick initially because I said, wait a minute. Dallas has they had the number 1 offense coming into the game. But they also had the 32nd ranked defense yards per game. So they're putting up the most yards per game, but they're giving up the most yards per game. The Panthers defense has to go against the number 1 offense, but the Panthers offense gets to go against the last place defense. Okay. Rico Dowdle is already coming off a 200-yard game against Miami last week. I'm going to be honest with you, I thought Dallas would have some kind of, we're not going to let our former teammate go off on us like that. I thought Dallas would have some kind of stand up in him like, no, he ain't going off on us. Man, that dude set a Panthers single game record for yards from scrimmage. 239 yards from scrimmage. Single game, 183 rushing. Now here's what I saw this against Miami too. Here's what I like about Mr. Dowdle. They're throwing to him out the backfield. You saw the touchdown he had yesterday. And in the Miami game, they were throwing to him out of the backfield. This opens up a lot of conversations, y'all. This opens up a lot of conversations. Rico Dowdle, 2 back-to-back 200-yard games from scrimmage. First time this has happened in, I think they said 40, 50 years. Chuba Hubbard. You just re-signed Chuba Hubbard. Gave him a 4-year contract. Nice contract. He's out. Calf injury. What happens when Chuba gets back? He may be back Sunday against the Jets. And you have a running back that's coming off of back-to-back 200-yard games. See, this is why I felt like earlier in the season, they should have been working Rico in more. Remember the first couple games, Chuba was getting them. And I do think Chuba should have been getting the majority of the carries. 1,200 yard season last year. He is your franchise running back. You just gave him a contract. Yeah. But then you bring in Rico Dowdle, 1,000-yard back in his own right, coming from Dallas. And I said, boy, this is going to be interesting. How does this work? How do you divvy up the carries with two 1,000-yard backs? The Panthers are low. You still got Jonathan Brooks, who's injured right now. He'll be back next year. That you took with a second-round pick out of Texas. You still got Travis Etienne that you spent the fourth-round pick on. So the Panther running back room is stocked. But what happens when Chuba gets back? Here's what I've said before. I don't think a player should lose their starting position due to injury. I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that. Last year, when Quinn Ewers got hurt and Arch Manning came in, Arch had a big game. I said, okay, that's wonderful. Arch should be the starting quarterback. Everybody calm down. I said, no. Arch should not be the starting quarterback. No. Quinn Ewers, because Quinn was playing well. Quinn Ewers is, I said, the only way Arch Manning would start for me is if he is playing lights out. I'm talking about elite performances. Rico Dowdle is doing that. Rico Dowdle is being the exception that I talk about. The only time a starter would lose their position if I'm coaching is if the backup comes in and plays lights out. Has Rico played to the level where you would not start Chuba Hubbard? I don't know, y'all. I think if Chuba, wow, that's tough. That is tough. If Chuba Hubbard is ready to go Sunday against the Jets, wow, that's tough, y'all. I played running back in college, high school and college. That's tough. Because I'm trying to put myself in both of their shoes. If I'm in Chuba's shoes, yeah, I want to start. I'm your guy. I haven't played bad. I'm your guy. But if I'm in Rico's shoes, if Chuba doesn't play Sunday and Rico has another big game, I'm talking about similar to what he's been doing, I think Rico's your starter. If Chuba Hubbard doesn't play Sunday and Rico Dowdle has another performance like that, I think at that point, he becomes your starter. If you're asking me about this Sunday, gosh, that's tough. I may start Chuba. I take that back. I'd start Rico. Because Chuba's coming off the injury. Unless Chuba shows me in practice, he is 100%. He has all of his power. He has all of his explosiveness. If Chuba shows me that in practice, then I think I would start Chuba. But if Chuba is just 85%, 90%, I'm going with Rico Dowdle. But regardless of who you start, the carries are about even now. See, with a running back, that's my only concern though. With a running back, see, my only concern now is Rico has been the workhorse, or some people call it the bell cow. And it allows you to get into a rhythm as you get more carries. See, I've been in situations where I play a possession and I sit a possession. I was splitting time with a running back. I play a possession and I sit a possession. It's tough to get into a flow like that. See, Rico, and then too mentally, we had a game in college one Saturday where I was the primary back and the coach told me before the game, you're the back. It's going to be cherry left, cherry right. You're the back. So mentally, I knew I'm good. Had over 100 yards that game. I'm good. Because I knew I had time. I'm not trying. See, when you're working on a limited snap count or limited carries, you can try to force stuff. I got to make a play. I got to make a play. I got to hit a home run. I got to break one. And now you're not running with your natural instincts. Rico knew I'm the back. Career high, 30 carries. I'm the back. And so it allowed him to settle in and not press and just run. The same thing in basketball. If you know you're not coming out the game in basketball, you relax. When you get limited playing time in basketball, as soon as you get it, I got to make a play. I got to make something happen. You're taking shots you normally wouldn't take. You're trying to do things that you may not be, handle the ball, and on defense, you're gambling because I know I don't have but a limited amount. I got to make something happen. Rico got to settle in. If Chuba Hubbard is 100% healthy, I start Chuba and he and Rico. I would have some plays where he and Rico are out there together. Yeah. I'd have Chuba and Rico in the backfield. Why not? I said, why not? I'd have them in the backfield together. You got your two best running backs on the field at the same time. That's tough for the defense to key on. That's tough. Hey, and y'all listen, we're not going to ignore Mr. Bryce Young. No, you're not. Look at this. 17 of 25, right at 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he had a pick, but we all know that wasn't his fault. Ball bounces off Tedero McMillan's hands. Boop, that's a pick. That ain't on Bryce. But here's the thing I want to bring up. When the Panthers were trailing the Cowboys, and I'm not talking about the final drive. When they were driving down it was tied then, so they weren't trailing. But when they're driving down for the game-winning field goal, I'm talking about at any point in the game when Dallas was leading. Because at the end of the first quarter, it's 3-3, right? At halftime, Dallas is up 17-13. Panthers are trailing. They both scored a touchdown in the third, so the Panthers are still trailing. So anytime Carolina was trailing, Bryce was 10 for 10. And you told me he's not a good quarterback. Some of you told me Bryce Young is not an NFL quarterback. You told me that. I've sit there, I'm defending Bryce, I'm taking up for Bryce, and I'm telling you, no, the dude can play, man. You saw him at Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner. And I saw plays with the Panthers where if he's just in the right situation, and some of y'all told me Bryce Young you said, Coach Cherry, he ain't no good. He's not a franchise quarterback. Coach Cherry, he shouldn't even be in the NFL. That's what some of y'all told me. 10 for 10. 10 for 10. What else we got? 10 for 10. 125 yards, 3 touchdowns, flawless passer rating. 158.3 passer rating. Flawless. That's the highest you can get. When the Panthers were trailing, at any point in the game, when the Panthers were trailing, he had the highest passing rating you could get. And you're telling me he ain't good. Okay. I'm telling you, if you put him in the right situation. Oh, Coach Cherry, Rico Dowdle was running. Rico carried that team. Anytime a quarterback plays well, somebody has helped him. You tell me a situation when a quarterback is playing well and he's the only player on the team playing well. But Joe Montana, I think, is the GOAT when it comes to quarterbacks. But he had Bill Walsh, one of the best coaches ever. Joe had something. Tom Brady had one of the best defenses in football in New England. Everybody's had, Patrick Mahomes has Andy Reid. Everybody has something. So if you try to say Bryce Young only played well because Rico Dowdle was balling, okay? When hasn't that happened? When hasn't Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl last year? Did you not see the Eagles' defense against Patrick Mahomes? Put all that pressure on Mahomes without even having to call a blitz? Did you not see Saquon Barkley have a historic rushing season? Yeah. Anytime a quarterback plays well, somebody else is balling. I don't care if it's just the offensive line. Well, he had all day in the pocket. Okay? Or the defense. Every time you give me an example of when a quarterback... Now, 10 for 10, 125, 3 touchdowns. Then he comes onto the field at the end of the game, drives him down for the... What if Did you not see the pass to Hunter Renfrow? Coach, and give it up for Coach Dave Canales. Oh, play calling was Coach Dave Canales, yes. Did you not see Bryce Young make that completion to Hunter Renfrow on 4th down? Coach Canales had enough confidence in his quarterback to say, I know who Bryce Young is. We're going for it. I got Bryce Young. 4th down. Now, if you don't get that 4th down in a tie ball game and you give that ball back to Dallas with good field position, that's ball game. You're losing that one. Coach Canales said, I know who my quarterback is. Stay on the field, offense. Huh? Stay on the field. Coach, you want to punt? Punt for what? Who's the quarterback? Bryce Young? Stay on the field. I said stay on the field. Completes the slant to Hunter Renfrow. Boom, boom, boom. Ball game. And you're trying to tell me Bryce Young ain't good. Okay. Tedero McMillan finally scored. Because look, T-Mac deserved, and he scored 2 of them. Gave the ball to his grandfather. I believe it was his grandfather's birthday. Gave the ball to his grandfather. Look, y'all, the Panthers, 2 in a row. 3-0 at Bank of America Stadium. They're saying protect the bank now. Now, we're talking about protect the bank. In 2 weeks, Josh Allen and Buffalo comes to town. We're going to see if we protect this bank because nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills, in the words of the great Chris Berman. The Panthers are in a good spot now. I'm going to say this. I'm concerned about this New York Jets game. Coach, the Jets are a mess. I'm concerned about this Jets game. I am, y'all. I'm concerned. The New York, I know they're 0-6. I know that. I know the Jets look a mess, and they looked awful offensively against Denver yesterday. On offense, they looked a mess. But don't forget, defensively, they were still in position to win that game. When you look at that Denver, New York Jets game yesterday, the Jets were still in position to win. They only lost 13-11. They lost 13-11. Bo Nix only had 174 yards passing. Denver only had 78 rushing. The Jets defense, and you know Breece Hall can play, and you know Garrett Wilson can play. I'm concerned about Carolina going to New Jersey to play the Jets. I'm concerned about that, y'all. We'll see. Because if they, first of all, the Panthers are 500 for the first time since 2021. If they can beat the Jets on Sunday, they'll be above 500 for the first time since 2020. Wow, long time. We'll see what happens. The Charlotte Hornets looked good the other night. I said the Charlotte Hornets looked good the other night against the Dallas Mavericks. They started who I wanted them to start. Now, I was surprised Ryan Kalkbrenner started. I was surprised that Ryan Kalkbrenner started. But they started LaMelo Ball. And here was the key. They started Colin Sexton. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They started, that's what I've been waiting to see. LaMelo Ball and Colin Sexton out there together. Then you start Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges. That's what I've been waiting to see. They've had other lineups where they started LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple. I don't like that. I don't like the LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple. They tried LaMelo Ball and Trey Mann. Nope, don't like it. LaMelo Ball, Colin Sexton, Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller. I probably would start Mason Plumlee instead of Ryan Kalkbrenner. I'm going to start Mason Plumlee. That's me. Maybe even Moussa Diabate. But Kalkbrenner, to me, needs to get stronger. I just think he needs to get stronger. This is year 6 for LaMelo Ball. One of the most talented players in the NBA Hands down, no question. It's not even a debate. Rookie of the year over Anthony Edwards. He's been an all-star before. He's averaged at least 20 points every year since his rookie year. He's averaged at least 7.5 or more assists every year since his rookie year. The talent's undeniable. Got to stay on the floor. It's time for LaMelo Ball to step it up and be a leader. It is. It's time for LaMelo Ball to step up. Some people play well. Some people elevate the whole team. What I want to see from Mr. LaMelo Ball this year is, do you elevate the... Look, I just gave you the numbers. He's playing well. LaMelo Ball, he's playing well. What about the rest of the team? Okay, y'all want to start Ryan Kalkbrenner? You like the big guy out of Creighton? You like the big guy? Does LaMelo Ball make Ryan Kalkbrenner better? Does he make him better? That's what I want. Does LaMelo, as good as Brandon Miller is?
We all want to have the best day possible. Sometimes our days become so busy and we may lose our normal routine. But there is a performance probiotic called Nella and Vanilla to keep you on track. Since my wife's surgery, her digestion just hasn't quite been the same, not 100%. With the performance probiotic Nella, it can improve digestion, energy, and also a good night's sleep. My wife decided to give Nella a try, and including that as a part of her daily regimen got her digestion back on track, and we are grateful. Visit fitbiomics.com to get your order of Nella or Vanilla. Use the code CoachCherry for your discount. Nella is giving you the guts to be your best self.
Does he make as good as Miles Bridges is? Does LaMelo... See, that's what I want to see LaMelo Ball. The Hornets don't have talent. Well, first of all, you can't say that this year. The roster this year, let me get LaMelo Ball, Colin Sexton, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Mason Plumlee. Let me get off the bench Spencer Dinwiddie, Trey Mann, Con Knipple, Musa Diabate, Ryan Kalkbrenner. That's 10 deep. Yeah, the Hornets, plenty of talent this year. Playoff level talent. I'm just being real with you. It's on LaMelo Ball. You say, Coach, I don't want to hear about Charles Lee. I don't want to hear about Charles Lee. That's a second-year coach. He's young, but he knows the game. You're talking about somebody coming from 2 championships. Charles Lee was an assistant for Budenholzer in Milwaukee. Charles Lee was an assistant for Missoula with the Celtics. He's been on 2 championship staffs. Don't tell me the man don't know how to win a championship. This is about LaMelo Ball. I'm sorry, you're the franchise. This is about LaMelo Ball. Is he going to... I just told you when quarterbacks look good, they have help. Can I also say this to you? When coaches look good, guess what they have? My best seasons as a coach, I always had a really good point guard. Coaches look good when their players help them look good. Did you not hear what I just said? When you have a player that can make plays, watch this, 3 things. When you have a player that can make plays, that can elevate the team, and number 3 is a leader. Now, leader means I set the example. So leader is on and off the court. I'm an example. People want to be like me. When you have a leader, a playmaker, and an elevator, you look great as a coach. That's going to make you look good as a coach. Charles Lee might not be the guy for the job. If Charles Lee ain't looking good, that's on LaMelo. LaMelo, make him look good. I said make him look. We know LaMelo can make plays. Now the other 2 aspects of that is LaMelo Ball a leader, and can he elevate the team? You mean to tell me the Hornets can't finish top 10? I don't want to hear that. Nope. Not that. I don't want to hear that. The Hornets, they just beat Dallas the other night. I know it's preseason. I know yeah. But they just beat Dallas the other night. Look at this. Colin Sexton, 12. LaMelo Ball, 20. Ryan Kalkbrenner, 14. Miles Bridges, 20. Brandon Miller, 15. Everybody's in double digits. You got Spencer Dinwiddie coming off the bench. Con Knipple came off the bench. He gave you 12. You're seeing several guys that are capable of scoring double digits. And you tell me you can't finish top 10 in the East? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to be real with you. If you can't finish top 10 in the East, I don't know. That's some shaky business. If you can't finish top 10 in the East, you mean to tell me you can't finish ahead of... Because look in the East. Look in the East. 1, 2, 3, 15 teams. All you have to do is beat out 5. You can't beat out 5 teams. You can't beat out Washington. You can't beat out Brooklyn. You can't beat Toronto. Some of these teams don't have nearly as much talent as the Hornets. Can I say that? Well, I'm going to save that one. You can't beat out the Atlanta Hawks. You can't beat, who else we got? Philadelphia without Joel Embiid becomes very regular. You can't beat out Philly. Why can't the Charlotte Hornets be better than Indiana? The only reason the Charlotte Hornets are not better than... Who does Indiana have that's better than Charlotte? Who? And I know, now especially this year with Halliburton being out, but even when he was out there, you're telling me Tyrese Halliburton is better than LaMelo Ball? No, he's not. Who? No, he's not. You're telling me Aaron Nesmith is better than Brandon Miller? No, stop that, y'all. No, he's not. You're telling me Ryan Nembhard is better than Colin Sexton or Miles Bridges? No, I don't believe that. Why can't they be just as good as Indiana? LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is more talented than Tyrese Halliburton. So what's going on there? I said, what's going on there? The only reason these guys like Orlando, Detroit, the only reason those teams are making the playoffs because Cade Cunningham is leading them. Paolo Banchero is leading them. That's the only reason. That's it. That's the only difference. Those guys are on the floor. Name 3 starters for Detroit. Name them. Name the other 4 guys starting with Paolo Banchero. Name them. Not sure we can do this. Name them. You don't even know who Cade Cunningham playing with. If I said, hey, name Detroit starting 5 in their 6-man, you're clueless. All you know is they made the playoffs last year and they almost knocked off the Knicks. That's all you know. So how is Cade Cunningham? I'm going to ask you another question. Who is the head coach for Detroit? You have no idea. Clueless. So how did they get to the playoffs then? How'd they get to the playoffs? How'd they do that? Cade. They had a player in Cade Cunningham that made him look good. And that's what LaMelo Ball is supposed to be doing. That's what who's the head coach in Orlando? Who? They have a player in Paolo Banchero that's making them look good and elevating everyone. That's all that's happening. So if the Charlotte Hornets, with all this talent, they're supposed to make Charles Lee look good. I don't want to hear that. Nope. They're supposed to make Charles Lee look good. Speaking of coaching, Penn State let go of James Franklin. I have no idea what that's about. They fired James Franklin? Now, we saw the buyout. James is fine. Financially, James Franklin is doing just fine. And not only is he doing just fine, he's going to be doing just fine for a while. James Franklin is fine. Did you see the buyout? Shh. I'm gonna tell you right now, if that's what the buyout is, y'all need any more coaches at that level? That's the buyout. Who wants to sign me up? But why did they fired James Franklin because of 2 games? I know they got upset by Northwestern this weekend. That's a big upset. Now you're not supposed to lose to Northwestern. You're not. I know the week before they got beat by UCLA. You're not supposed to lose to UCLA. I know right now Penn State is 3-3. I ain't mad at the Oregon loss because Oregon is really, really good. I know they're 3-3. And the thing is, well, James Franklin can't win the big game, Coach Cherry. Stop it. James Franklin, these last 3 years is 34-8. Maybe some of you are forgetting the situation that James Franklin walked into. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe some people are forgetting that when he got to Penn State, it was a mess. It was a dumpster fire. Maybe some people are forgetting that when he got to Penn State, the 4 years before he got that job, for 4 years, they were not even ranked at the end of the season. Not even 24th, 25th. Penn State was So he walks into a program that has some mess going on. They're unranked, so they ain't no good. And he takes over that and has them as a consistent top 10 program. And you want to talk about fire James. I ain't firing James Franklin for what? Unless you got Nicholas Saban walking through that door. Is Nicholas Saban walking through the door? He's not. Well, James Franklin, you put them headsets back on. Put them back on. Put the headsets back on, James. If Nicholas Saban ain't walking through that door, James Franklin, put the headsets back on. See, you got to be careful, Penn State. You got to be careful. This man has you as a top 10 pro. You got to be careful. You can ruin your program. It ain't like Penn State is this national, historically great. They got 2 titles, and those were back in the 80s, 82 and 86. Penn State's last national was 86. So they ain't really talking about nothing. And you fire this man that has you as see, what you got to be careful about, Penn State, you can mess around and become irrelevant. And you'll be wishing for the James Franklin days when those games mattered. Penn State versus Ohio State right now, it means something. Penn State versus Oregon means something right now. You can take this program to a point where them games don't mean nothing. Okay, well, before James Franklin got there, Penn State versus Ohio State meant nothing. Meant nothing. Penn State versus Michigan meant nothing. Them years before James Franklin got there, coming out of that mess. It meant nothing. Now you got a coach that got you to the point where, we're nationally relevant. We got big ball games every year. And you fire him? The last 3 years, he's won no less than 10 games. Okay. Now, don't mess around and be like some other programs. I know. See, that's the thing. Everybody wants a national title. I get that. And you should. You should want a national title. I get it. You should want one. Can I break the news to y'all? Everybody's not going to get a national title. I'm sorry. Everyone is not going to win a national title. It's just not going. I'm sorry, y'all. California. When is Cal going to win a national title in football? California. When is Cal going to win a national? When? They're never going to win one. Cal? I don't care who they're bringing in. They're never winning a national title. Who? No. Purdue. When is Purdue ever going to win a national championship? You tell me. When is Purdue ever going to win a national title? When is Wake Forest going to win a national championship in football? When? So as an athletic director, when you hire, what are your goals? What are your expectations? You ain't winning a national title. For some, you just want to be relevant. That's going to bring in recruits. See, Penn State was at least in a position. And see, they fired James Franklin, not even knowing who's next. You don't get rid of no good coach and you don't know who else is going to walk through that door. No, you don't. That's silly stuff, y'all. You don't get rid of a good coach and you don't know who's coming in next? Huh? Arkansas is not winning a national championship. When? When are they going to win one? Some schools, it's just not happening. So for some schools, the first step is, okay. See, look at Georgia Tech. Oh my goodness, Georgia Tech is, yes. Georgia Tech, when they brought Brent Key in, look at Georgia Tech now, y'all. They're relevant. The first step, which is what James Franklin got you, is relevancy. Huh? For some programs, that's going to be it, y'all. I'm just being real with you. Y'all talking about you think Oregon State's going to win a national title. When? Oregon State just wants to be relevant right now. Oregon State ain't winning nobody's national championship. Nobody's. Oregon State just wants to be relevant. They ain't winning that. James Franklin had you there. And now, if you're not careful, Penn State, you're about to take a step back. And some programs take a step back and never recover. Georgia Tech can't get rid of Brent Key. I don't care if Brent Key never wins a national championship at Georgia Tech. You can't get rid of that man. See, what happens is this. See, now Brent Key has Georgia Tech relevant. And guess what some people are going to start saying now? What's the next step? What do you mean, what's the next step? Ain't nobody thought about Georgia Tech football for years. What's the next step? Ain't nobody thinking about no Georgia Tech football until Brent Key took over. And now you're going to have some people at Georgia Tech say, all right, Brent Key, what's next? Where's that national? Don't y'all dare do that to that man. Don't do that to that man. That man has y'all at a place that you've never, I know they won one, I think in 1990. Huh? You're talking about almost 40 years ago. Don't you get rid of no Brent Key. Because Brent Key starts having these kind of seasons, it's going to be, all right, stop. Penn State, what happens now? What's your plan? Because you got rid of a really good coach. What is your plan now? I'm going to sit back and watch and wait and see. Because I think they made a mistake. Now, again, James Franklin is fine financially. Look, man, he's fine. And he's going to get another. Their schools call it, while we sit here talking to each other, their schools calling James Franklin probably on the phone right now. James Franklin's on the phone right now talking to somebody about a head coaching position. James Franklin is fine. Don't worry about James Franklin. But they shouldn't have got rid of him. That much I do know. Talking about coaches, the Las Vegas Aces just swept Phoenix in the WNBA playoffs, finals. Is Becky Hammon the greatest WNBA coach ever? Becky Hammon's only had that job for 4 years. And she's got 3 championships? Well, she's got Asia Wilson. Stop it. I just told you need good players to help you look good. You do know Asia Wilson was there before Becky Hammon, and they didn't win, right? Okay, just making sure. You do know Asia Wilson was there before Becky Hammon, right? And they won't win the champ. Oh, okay. So for those of y'all saying she's got Asia Wilson, well, Asia was there before Becky Hammon. They didn't win. So don't do that. But when you talk about dynasties, 3 and 4 years, dynasty. Van Chancellor, who was coach of the Houston Comets, that was a dynasty. That Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, that was a dynasty. Van Chancellor had those Comets rolling. Where does Becky Hammon rank? And where does Asia Wilson rank? Is Asia the greatest to ever do it? Some say she had the best season ever this year. Is Asia Wilson the GOAT? See, with the women's game, it's not as clear cut. With the men's game, either LeBron or Jordan, pick one. That's the men's game. Either it's LeBron or now sometimes you may hear Kareem's name come up. LeBron or Jordan. Pick one. With the women's game, though, it's not, for whatever reason, it's not clear cut. Cynthia Cooper, who else? Cheryl Miller, Maya Moore, Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, Lisa Leslie, Asia Wilson. It's not as clear cut in the women's game. When they talk about the greatest of all time in the women's game, you hear about 7, 8, 9, and they all have a legitimate argument. To me, it's Candace Parker. But they all, because we never saw anyone at 6'4", 6'5", handle the basketball like that. Pull up and shoot the mid-range. Lead her team in assists. The first rookie to win MVP of the league. Not rookie of the year. MVP. To me, it's Candace Parker. But you can make a case for Asia Wilson. You can make a case for Maya Moore and Diana Taurasi and Cynthia Cooper, and some might say Cheryl Swoops and Lisa Leslie. You can make Cheryl Miller. I know Cheryl unfortunately didn't get to play in the WNBA, and even Cynthia Cooper, she didn't get a large part of her career in the W. But you can make a strong case for all of them. Asia's only, now the thing that Asia has in her advantage, she's only 29, and she's still adding to her resume. That's Asia's advantage. She's only 29, so by the time she's done, yeah, it may be undeniable for Asia Wilson. But where does she rank? At the very least, she is one of the best to ever do it. Now the Aces may run it back next year. See, that's what you can't count out champions. That's what we saw this year from the Aces. And we've seen this before in other sports. The Aces started the season off struggling. And then what's wrong with the Aces? What's wrong with the Aces? Right around the midpoint, a little bit after the midpoint, they cut that switch on. And they won like 11 or 12 straight. I forgot what their winning streak was. It was like 12 in a row. Here they go. Now they didn't get the number 1 seed. That's fine. Because see, when you're a champion, you just want to get to the postseason. Remember that year Kansas City won the Super Bowl and all their playoff games were on the road? Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, they just wanted to get to the postseason. They weren't having the greatest season that year. They weren't. They had some struggles that year. They just said, get us to the playoffs and we'll take care of business from there. That's what the Aces did. Kansas City right now, you don't want to see them in the playoffs? No, you don't. No, they're not undefeated. No, they're not 5-1. You don't want to see Kansas City in the playoffs. Not with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid with the headsets. Now, you don't want to see that. Becky Hammon and Asia Wilson said, just get us to the playoffs. If we just get there, we'll take care of business. Just get us to the playoffs. I'm talking about the heart of a champion. And that's what the Las Vegas Aces showed. That's a danger. Anytime because see, once you get to the postseason, you can inhale the championship. Because it's right under we're in the playoffs. I can smell a championship because other teams have been eliminated. They're not playing anymore. I can smell a championship. And all the Aces had to do is, and they could smell that thing. They swept Phoenix. I didn't say they just, matter of fact, fun fact, Jewel Lloyd on the Aces, 6-man, 6-woman, double-digit scores coming off the bench, and she hasn't lost a game in the finals yet. Jewel Lloyd has played in 3 WNBA finals, hasn't lost a game yet. She played with Seattle before she got to Las Vegas. She won in Seattle, sweeps. She hasn't lost in the finals yet. I'm talking about championship basketball. So Jackie Young, I know what this is. Becky Hammon, I know what this is. Asia Wilson, Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray, one of the best point guards in the league. We know what this is. Championship time. And the Aces show the heart of a champion. They might run it first of all, they can run it back with this team. If they add anything to that roster, you need to look out. They got 3 and 4 years now. They might make that thing 4 and 5 years. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that like and subscribe button. Every Monday, right here on YouTube, the best one out. This has been another episode of the Coach Cherry Show. We're going to see if the Panthers can avoid being the Jets' first win. Come on. Let me call Dave Canales. Let me call Bryce Young right quick. We're going to see if the Panthers can avoid being the Jets' first win. Until next time, God bless you.
Let it breathe. Doing calisthenics like an athlete, yeah. Staying in my lane like a track meet, yeah. I can adjust, kinda crafty.